Hey guys, so recently I discovered that one of my rear speakers in my 1992 Camaro Z28 was starting to malfunction. There was what sounded like a static vibration, and being that the car is now 28 years old, it likely had the original speakers in it, so I knew it was time to replace them. Now, I don't really need a loud boombox in the car, so I just wanted the standard replacement. After all, I still have the original 28-year-old 1990 to 92 Camaro rare GM Delco CD player in the car. I decided to film what I did, so hopefully it can be useful for another everyday person who isn't exactly mechanically inclined to replace theirs as well. Now stay tuned, because along with this journey, I came up with a really cool tip on how to really perform a plug and play with your factory speakers. And this cool tip actually ended up saving me over $81 Canadian. So the first thing that I did was try to look up on YouTube to see what exactly is involved in doing the speaker replacement, because I've never done it before. There are multiple videos online, and a number of them suggested to buy an adapter online, which allows you to plug and play the original GM wires, which have their own exclusive plug, and then plug those into the new speakers. Alright, so let's start off by seeing all the different things that we're going to need to do for this replacement. Now, first things first, gloves. Your fingers are bound to get greasy and dirty, and I'm sure you're not going to want to get that on your nice upholstery. Next up, you want to be able to think about safety and protection against electrical problems. So you can go one of two ways. One, you can remove the fuse for the speakers, or two, you can just start by removing the power itself by disconnecting the negative terminal on the battery. Now for me, in this instant, I took off the battery terminal. It was just a much more safer way. That way you have no problem of any other electrical issues. And for that, I'm going to need a 8mm wrench for my side post. Next, we need a screwdriver with a medium-sized Phillips end and a 15mm Torx end. And to save time, I used a cordless screwdriver. Next up, wires, wire strippers, wire connectors, and crimpers. Now, for the soldering parts, you're going to include solder, soldering iron, flux, heat shrink, mask, of course, and goggles, which unfortunately I forgot to put in this picture, but I do assure you I did use them when I was soldering. Alright, so the very first thing that we're going to want to do is disconnect the negative terminal from the battery. To get access to the speakers, we're going to need to use a Phillips screwdriver to remove the hanger. Then, to remove the panel, simply lift towards you, and there you'll see that there are two little prongs sitting inside two slits. To remove the actual speakers, there are four 12mm Torx screws. Now, a tip that I can give you is use a magnet to remove these screws, because you do not want to drop those screws into the abyss. And what I mean by that is the quarter panel, because good luck getting them out if you happen to drop them in there. Now, I'm just going to fast forward this. Now, here you can see the plug. And it's not your standard plug, as you can see. And as a result, you have two choices here. One, you can cut the plug off the wire and either solder directly to the new speaker or install a new wire connector. The problem with that is the wires are really, really short. And if you cut off the plug, you're going to find that you have very little wire to play with. Or two, buy a plug and play adapter online, is where one side connects to the factory plug and the other side is just your standard wire connector. Now, as you can see in this picture, you can see that this is not cheap. For something that seems so simple, it's ridiculous how much they want to charge to send to Canada. And unfortunately, I live in Canada. So they want nearly $18 for this plug and play adapter and almost $65 Canadian just to ship it. It's absolutely outrageous. The thing is, where do you get that unique GM plug? Well, the thing is, the plug is on the speakers, which I'm surprised that there's not a lot of people that thought about this, or at least I haven't seen anybody say this. But yet instead, they're recommending this expensive adapter. On the factory speakers is a matching plug with two wires from the speakers soldered to it. Now, rather than spending like $100 Canadian on this plug and play adapter, why not just make your own on the factory speakers themselves? So that's what I did. So just a quick thing, note that there is an A and a B on the plug, and I'll explain that a little later in the video. I started by unsoldering these two wires, and they're on the prongs of the plug, which are attached to these speakers. The plug actually slides into the speaker structure and is held on by a single prong underneath the plug. Now unfortunately it's really hard to show you this on camera, but basically you want to do is push the prong up while sliding the plug backwards slightly to relieve tension on the prong. Now after that, the plug just slides off. After that, I just use pliers to straighten out the prongs. And again, I'm just going to fast forward this. So after that, we're going to start to begin to actually build this custom adapter. We start off by taking 4 inches of black wire for a negative, stripping off approximately 1/4 inch sheathing off the end, and tightly twisting the wires together. Now this is the female wire connector, which we'll be using, which matches the prongs on the plug on my new speakers as well as other speakers. Then we slip on the female wire connector and securely crimp together. And then we do the same thing with the red wire, which is our positive, and again I used 4-inch wire. Strip off the end, twist, apply connector, and crimp. Alright, now on to the other side. We take that red positive wire on the other side, we strip off 1/4 inch of sheathing, twist, and slip on a small length of heat shrink. Push it all the way to the very end of the connector to keep it away from your heat source. And now we're going to solder this red positive wire to our plug. Now, remember how I mentioned earlier about the plug having marks A and B? We need to attach the wires to the correct prongs here. So next I'm going to show you the diagram to show you which wire goes to which prong. But basically A is negative and B is positive. Hey guys, if you like the videos in my channel, I would really appreciate it if you could please hit the subscribe button. Also, hit the little bell icon in order to get instant notification whenever I post any new videos on my channel. And of course, be sure to like, comment, and share the videos. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get back to the video, shall we? We apply flux to the wire and solder the red positive wire to the prong marked B. Now once cooled down, we slide over the heat shrink and use a heat gun or lighter to shrink down the heat shrink. And then repeat the process with the black negative wire for the prong marked A. Well, there we go. That adapter is now done. And now we turn over to the other speaker and repeat all of the processes once again. Now the great thing about using this homemade adapter is that you can easily clip different speakers in the future without having to modify your wiring. Alright, so now it's time to reinstall our new speakers into the car. Starting on the right side, which is the passenger side, we first plug in the new speaker using our custom-made adapter, which simply clicks in. Now to mount it, we simply screw back in the 4 Torx screws. So we're just going to fast forward this. Replace the speaker cover and screw the co-hanger clip back on. And then repeat the process for the left side, which is the driver side. And we are done. Now you should be able to easily plug and play install your new speakers in the future directly to your custom-made adapter. Alright guys, thanks for watching.
Alright, and with that, I'd like to conclude this video. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And be sure to click the little bell icon to be notified of each new video I post. Thank you for watching, and till next time.